I think we're live. Hey, hey, everybody. Barb Pitcock here. It's the day we've all been waiting for. I know I've been teasing you guys that we were going to have a social media summit or a social media retreat or a social selling mastermind. And trust me, we got a network of experts. I always try to surround myself with people making way more than me and stay teachable and coachable. But I want to introduce you guys to someone that I've been following for a long time. And Dave and I were actually in the lobby about 5 years ago in a company that was kind of struggling and nobody knew how to get people to meetings and people were trying to book hotel events. And this is before COVID, if you remember, John. We were all still like, there was a lot of like old school, new school. And nothing is right or wrong. We're not going to say anybody the way they're doing it is right or wrong. But John, I have been watching you guys just absolutely crush it and make millions of dollars in all the things, not just in one thing. And I'm just so humbled to have you on here speaking to my team because, Dave and I have made a decision that at this age in our life, like we're not getting any younger. Everybody gets in this business to have freedom. And yet so many people in this industry still don't have the freedom. They still can't quit their job. They're still tied on, 9 meetings a week and Zooms and people get in to get out. They want that freedom. So John, I don't know what we're doing here. We don't have a script or anything, but I'm pinching myself that you took a little bit of time out of your day to train my team because what Dave and I really want to do is something that's duplicatable. I know that when people are making money, they feel good. They can be their authentic self without me micromanaging them. People aren't stupid. They're going to go be themselves. And I really have a ton of great people on my team and in my network, but very few people that are making the money that I'm making. And the reality is we should share that secret with them. So the day we met you, John, you were leaving the A&MP. We were all there together speaking and I started following you, doing the things that you were saying. And it's been a very long time. I don't think I've done a meeting in a hotel room or living room for at least 5 years, but I've made more money than I've ever made in the industry. And so let's just share that secret with people. And I know a lot of people are afraid of MLM or social selling or influencer. Tell us a little bit about you. I know we both came from the same, like how we built the business in the beginning and the basics never changed, but what's different about what you did then and what you're doing now? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, first of all, appreciate the awesome introduction. Excited to be here. And I know, we've been doing this a long time, right? You've been in the profession a while. So we've seen it evolve. We've seen the evolution and, the old school stuff. I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot from belly to belly, knee to knee, eye to eye, right? PBRs, weekly meetings, all the offline activities. But at the end of the day, I got burnt out. I had this like major MLM PTSD, felt like, all these companies were like glorified pyramid schemes and it was all about recruiters recruiting, recruiters to recruit more recruiters. And it was all about pitching the business and, building teams. And it's like, yeah, but what about the average person that just wants to promote products? They want to make money, from home. We used to have this joke in this one company I was in, and it would be, it's the only home business where you're never home. And it's like funny, but kind of sad, right? It's like we were out every night. Now, you talk about the days of Zoom. I'll get to that in a second, but this was back in like 2000, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We were out doing meeting after meeting, like 6:30 meetings, 8:30 meetings every single night. Monday night, 6:30, 8:30. Tuesday night, 6:30, 8:30. And let me be very clear. These were not at my house. These were not in my neighborhood. They weren't even in my state. So I live in Maryland still today. At that time, I lived south of Baltimore. Nadia and I would go in opposite directions very often where I'm like driving up, 83 into Pennsylvania. I might be in Delaware the next night. I might be in West Virginia. Some nights I'd be in 2 different states. So I'd drive to West Virginia, do a 6:30, get out the door by 7:30 to drive up to Pennsylvania to do Western Pennsylvania meeting and get home super late at night. You're drinking Red Bull on the way home so you don't fall asleep, stopping and getting fast food. And I remember being like, dude, this is just not what I signed up for. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the freedom? And I was in this one company for 7 years. And we weren't just drinking the Kool-Aid, we were bathing in it. And they were hardcore, old school, like they wouldn't even allow you to go to generic events. They wouldn't allow you to share like, generic trainers, coaches. Like they were very anti-social media. They're like, that doesn't duplicate. And I just got sick and tired of it. And how many of us can relate to that, where you probably got involved in network marketing because you were sick and tired of your job or the business that you owned, but it really owned you, or you just wanted residual income, or you wanted another income stream outside of your full-time income. You wanted a plan B. Like typically people get involved because there's something missing.
Yep.
But that's where I was in my network marketing journey, because I'd been at it for so many years, and I was doing it full time for 5 years straight. 2008, I fired my boss, which is, by the way, the last time the economy crashed, right? So that was our first year going full-time in network marketing. I walked away from being a mortgage broker, and we were full-time. We were part-time for 2 years, but then we decided on that third year to go full-time, walk away from mortgages, ultimately because I was just unhappy. And I just felt like, I think I want to, make a run for it. But what we did is, like I said, we were out every night doing the meetings, and every Saturday we'd have a super Saturday. And again, these were not in our backyard. So we were driving all over God's green earth. I used to say, like, God must want me to drive, because for the life of me, I could not build a team in my like local area, like in my zip code. Anybody I signed up that was in like Baltimore or Annapolis, they sucked. I couldn't get any momentum. I'm like, why is it that all my best people are like an hour, 2 hours, north, south, east, west, driving in rush hour traffic? I mean, it was just painful, but we did it because we had the WIT mentality. How many of us know what that is, right? If you're old school, you remember WIT, whatever it takes, right? 8 to faint. What does that mean? 8 a.m. till you faint, till you pass out, like balls to the wall. But the mindset was, after 5 years, you're done. Financial freedom. You can, have beach money, right? Mailbox money. I mean, there was all these terms, right? Temporarily motivated to be permanently lazy. All these things sounded good. But after 7 years in that company, 5 years full time, I looked at my team and I'm like, nobody's winning. Nobody's even making $1,000 a month. And I was a regional vice president. It was the second highest rank in the company. And I'm like, I can't look people in the eye anymore and tell them that they should join or they should keep going, because I knew it wasn't worth it. Now, it's a little bit of a different conversation because the company I was in, it was also like compensation plan issues. And again, just very old school. And I'm like, I've got to find a better way. And it was social media. It was using the internet. At first, it was just like using the internet to find people, to generate leads, figure out what worked for us, because it doesn't matter what works. It matters what duplicates. So we started using, YouTube and blogging and all these things. But what we found is that social media, specifically Facebook, was the easiest platform for the average person to use to start having business conversations, to start having product conversations. And eventually we started doing videos, which was actually 10 years ago last month. We started doing videos. 2013, February 2013, we started doing videos for the first time. About 2 years into it, 3 years into it, Barb, we started doing these video challenges. And some of you follow leaders and trainers and coaches right now. They got started building their brand and doing videos from our video challenge, right? Some of the biggest names in the industry, they started doing our video challenge. We were the ones that got them to start building their brand and putting out content. And now these are, huge influencers or huge earners in the industry, coaches, trainers, speakers. But they saw what we were doing and they were like, that's pretty damn smart. Instead of having to physically go out and meet people at networking events. Anybody else hate that? Like, oh yeah, we got a networking event, 7 a.m. every Thursday. Like, I don't even roll out of bed by 7 a.m. Like, I'm definitely not going to go network at 7 a.m. But what I got excited about, I started learning from like Mike Dillard, Magnetic Sponsoring, Tim Ferriss, the 4-Hour Work Week. And this is, again, it's about 10 years ago, right? So this is, a long time ago. I wouldn't necessarily say like, this is who you would learn from today. Although Ray Higdon was another, big inspiration for us. Chalene Johnson, Gary Vaynerchuk, all of them, they were like early adopters. They were like the ones talking about brand building and attraction marketing very, very early on before anyone was talking about it. But a lot of what they were teaching, Barb, it was like, YouTube and SEO and Facebook ads and email list building and stuff that I'm like, this is not simple. So we decided to
Right.
make it, very simple for us, not just so that we could get results in a simple way, obviously, but from a duplication standpoint. And then eventually we created the ATM system in our company. And slowly but surely, we started to create one of the, biggest success stories in the history of network marketing. We've got one of the most successful teams in all of network marketing. We've got, so many people winning, but then we also have clients and friends and students and all these other companies that are using a lot of our strategies. And what's funny, here's what's really funny, is that now if you land on someone's social media, you have no idea what company they're in.
Yeah. And that's the thing that people don't get, John.
Yeah.
They're all like we have an ATM group and it's actually under construction right now. But I mean, I'm following you and it's working for me. And I had a girl that had been in the industry with me since 1996. And when I did ATM, she went from not having anyone in one day, John, she had 5 local people that she added to the testimonial group sign up for $500 in a product variety. And this is like, it's been a long time ago because, I think I started that clear 7 years ago when we first started, working with you. But the reality is she was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, I didn't know the lady at the flower shop would ever join my business. And I think the reality is most people are afraid to sell. They're terrified of people. And if they do get someone, then they don't know what to do. But the funny thing is, majority of teams or companies or whatever, number one, they're afraid of the ATM group. Number two, they don't trust anyone. And number three, for me to introduce you to my team, if you knew the phone calls I got this week, like, are you going to join them? Like, what? Like, my best friends are, Shiloh Bajold is on your front line, one of my best friends. I would never try to recruit her. She would never try to recruit me. We talk about our kids and life, and we're in a support group together. Like, she's killing it because she learned like you did. So if the average person, and like right now, life's happening, family stuff happening, when you have to take a break from your business, when you stop doing the 6:30, the 8:30, the Saturday training, those Super Saturdays, ours were in Kansas City or Denver, and I live in the middle of nowhere. So it was 4 hours one way, 4 hours home, or 5 hours. It's 4 or 5 hours to an airport.
Yeah. How bad do you want it? Yeah.
I know, but we maxed out credit cards. We wore out the cars. And, these virtual events and virtual meetups and everything, and we can get to that. I know that's completely changed, but some people still have this fear of the change to build in the way that you guys are just, duplicating a company like crazy. So that's what I want to bring to my team. And for them, and I don't even care if they're on my team. Like, I have a lot of followers that do coaching and training with me that aren't even on my team. But I don't ever want them to see, hey, Barb's having an event at the downtown Holiday Inn, come to it, because they're not going to join me in this day and age if that's the deal. I feel like it's great for me to get everyone together, to recognize them, to have a mastermind group, a retreat, recognition, whatever. Exactly. But the average person on social media right now, they can download the Uber app. They can, they can do DoorDash. They can do walk somebody's dog. They can do anything to get daily pay in their account. So why would they want someone like me micromanaging them and not letting them be authentic in the way that they want to show up? And so that's what I love about you guys, because all of a sudden I was like, I'm just going to be Barb Pitcock and I don't care what anyone thinks. And I got more response and more people messaging me like, how do I do what you do? And I don't have to go chase people. But if I'm brand new, John, because a lot of people are watching this, like, what's going on? We're not going to do a meeting. Like, it's not that. But like, if I'm brand new and I say, I really need to make some money. I don't have a lot of, friends and influence. I'm new here, at the lake house. I don't know other than my neighbors. I don't know a lot of people here in Oklahoma. I want to build a brand. What would be the first advice that you would tell me if we're just starting from ground zero?
Yeah. Well, it's a really great question. And I think most people at this point are probably pretty familiar with at least Facebook. And Facebook is still my favorite platform. There were times where, some other platforms got our attention, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. But ultimately, Facebook is still the gorilla. It's the King Kong. It's the best. Look, it's not just the best platform for me and for a lot of our leaders, but like it's the best platform for duplication and communication. And there's just so many awesome tools like Facebook groups, right? Messenger, you can do group chats, team chats, you can do Facebook Live, you can do reels, you can do stories. I mean, it's got everything. So, you could make a fortune from that one platform. And then, the thing is, people will go, what about all these other platforms? It's like, yeah, I mean, listen, I've got Twitter, I've got LinkedIn, I've got YouTube, but a lot of that stuff, it's like we're taking content that I create on Facebook and repurposing, the content to those other platforms, or we have like outsourcing and we have systems and, what have you. But, and what I was getting at before is that, 5 years ago, people would have the name of the company plastered all over their social media. Like it was so obvious which company they were in because it literally had it in their bio. Now people are learning, and it's so good to see that, years later, after we were pounding on people about this, attraction marketing, building your brand, like don't make it so obvious what you do or what company you're with, because people will Google it. They might end up liking the products, but they'll buy them from someone else, not from you, even though you were the one that they initially heard about it from, but they don't need to reach out to you because it's plastered all over your page. So I love that people are still in my inbox. 7.5 years I've been with the same company, and people are still like, what company are you with? Right. They don't even know we're with a company because they're attracted to our content. They're attracted to us. And exactly what you just said, when you started showing up with your authenticity, with your story, with your, inspiration and tips and insights, like people are drawn to that. And that's for some people, that's really hard, when they're getting started, because they're like, well, what do I post about? What do I talk about? How do I show up? And, let me know in the comments if any of you can relate to that. But, I think the easiest thing is just start telling your story. Take people on the journey with you. You start trying a new product, tell people, hey, I'm trying this new product. I'm really excited because apparently it helps with this, this, and this. I hope it works for me. Let me know if you've ever tried anything like this before. It's just creating conversations. That's all it is. We are professional conversation starters. And if you can create those conversations while you're creating content, you're going to eventually make connections with people that are going to be open to your products and opportunity. And then you're going to convert some of those people into customers or partners. Those are the 4 C's right there, right? The content is number one if you're trying to attract people, but then on the back end, you're creating those conversations, and then you're making those connections. And then some of those people are going to convert into customers. Some of those people are going to convert into partners. And that's why we learned very early on from Danny Johnson back in like 2007.
Oh,
I remember her saying,
colors changed my life with her.
I loved her philosophy on expose, involve, upgrade. Expose, involve, upgrade. And that's basically all the ATM system is, right? You find people that are open, you add them to the group, you tag them in a video, and then you set up a group message introducing them to other people on the team. And it really is as simple as that. Now, does that mean it's easy? No, but it is simple. I like simple because I'm a community college dropout, and I like to keep things very simple. And for me, I didn't have a lot of influence when I got started. I was 20 years old. I was broke, busted, and disgusted. No background in business, no business being in business. So I had to build from scratch, just like a lot of you. But the thing is, the time is going to pass anyway. A year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's going to pass anyway. So you might as well start building your influence now. Start building those relationships now. And, there's a lot of growth strategies to get, more exposure. But at the end of the day, attracting more leads, more followers, getting more friend requests is irrelevant if you're not making those connections on the back end. Like, people will say to me, oh, well, how do I get, more exposure? How do I get more followers? And I'm like, well, let me ask you this. How many friends do you have right now on Facebook? And they're like, I have like, 1,500. I'm like, have you talked to those 1,500? And they're like, well, no, but I don't think they're interested. And it's like, really? You just are assuming those 1,500 freaking people aren't interested? Let me just tell you right now, you're wrong. Number one. Number two, what's the point of adding 100 new friends if you're not going to talk to the 1,500 you already got? I'm confused. Like, what is the point of like, I need new friends, I need new followers? It's like, but you already have friends and followers you haven't even talked to. So do you see what the disconnect there? It's like there is no point in generating more followers and more friends and having more connections if you won't connect with the ones or talk to the ones you already have in your network. People, it's very rare that people are going to be in your inbox asking you about your products or opportunity. And even if they do, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to buy the products or join the team. So while you're waiting for people to come to you and ask you about your business, your products, or just starting those conversations because you're creating content, hoping people see it, in the meantime, you need to be proactive and very intentional in reaching out to people. And that's the part that people don't like, right? They don't like being rejected. They don't like not knowing the answers to questions and feeling kind of embarrassed. But sorry, that's what it is. You have to get over your fear of rejection, your fear of failure, your fear of embarrassment, because at the end of the day, yeah, some of those people are probably going to laugh at you. Some of those people are going to ignore you. Some of those people, I had a woman just tell me that she started her business 6 weeks ago, and one of her best friends for 36 years, they got into a debate about her starting this online social selling business, and they're no longer talking. Like the relationship is over, according to her. And I'm like, that's really and that's really sad to hear. But at the end of the day, that's not a real friend. In my opinion, that's not a friend if they're not going to. Now, it also depends on how she approached her. If she was like, you got to do this, you need to buy my products. But let's assume she didn't do that, and she simply shared her excitement about something she's doing. No pressure to get her involved, right? I don't care if you get involved. I don't care if you want to buy my products or join my team ever. But at least be cool. Like, don't get upset because I want to do something with my life, right? But with all that being said, you just never know. You never know who's open if you don't intentionally reach out and have those conversations. And I know for a lot of people, that's their fear. It's like, they want to be successful, but everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. So you have to be okay with, right, having some awkward conversations and getting ignored and getting laughed at. And I'll tell you this, I don't know if this will make you guys feel better, but I think it will. You will see, right, after I say it. Some get discouraged, some get encouraged by this story, but I was in network marketing for 14 years, and I was no slouch. I mean, Nadia and I made a lot of money in a couple different companies. In fact, our last company, we had 7,000 people on our team in 2 years, and they got shut down by the Federal Trade Commission, which was just a lovely experience. If you look at my team today, okay, you look at my business today, 99% of the people that are in my organization today, and we've got a multi-million-dollar team. Our team did 75 million in sales last year. All right, we brought on 7,500 distributors last year, 180,000 new customers last year. It's not like a small little baby team. It's a big team. But with all that being said, 99% of those people, I did not know them, and they did not know us in 2015 when we got started. So I'm telling you that because, again, it could be encouraging or discouraging. It depends on how you look at it. It's encouraging because even if every single person you know right now doesn't buy or join, it doesn't matter because there are billions of people you can connect with. And I'm sure a small percentage of them are going to be interested in joining you, buying from you, if you show up and do the do. With that being said, I also had 14 years of relationships, 14 years of pouring into people, 14 years of working with people and mentoring people and nurturing relationships. And out of that 14 years of all that hard work and all that time and effort and all those people I work, most of those people from 14 years of sweat equity and work are not in my business today. So that part can be a little discouraging. Like, damn, 14 years of working your face off. But the truth is, it doesn't matter because when you have an abundant mentality and you keep the faith, you're going to meet new people. You're going to come across new people. And there's so many ways to meet people that even if your entire network of people says not now, not interested, no way, Jose, they ghost you, whatever, you can meet new people every single day. So I hope that gives you some something to really think about when it comes to creating content and showing up, because you might get the attention of some of the people you're connected with now, but at the end of the day, even if they all say no and they're not interested, it's not no forever. It's just no, not yet. No, not now. You planted the seed and you move on and continue connecting and creating content. And you'll eventually find the people out there that are like Barb, that are like me, that just want more out of life. And as you do this, you're also going to get a lot better. And that's the other part about having to suck it up and do videos, embrace the suck. You're going to suck at videos. You're going to suck at some of these things that you're learning. But the only way to get good at something is by doing it and failing forward.
Yes. So do you do a lot of reels, or do you do a lot of Facebook Lives or stories? Where do you think you get your most traction from as far as leads?
For me, it's a little different just because we have a massive following. So, we do have the advantage of having all these fishing poles out there, if you will, right? Like, I can't tell you how many times I get people in my inbox like, hey, I've been following you and Nadia for years, and I'm, thinking about, getting back involved in network marketing or starting an online business, or I want to take a look at your product, so that is an advantage. And they come from everywhere, right? They come from just people that have been following us for years. They come from, if it's a brand new person that's never seen this before, it could be a Facebook Live that like someone shared. It could be a reel that someone shared. I mean, we get new followers all day, every day on Facebook and Instagram. And again, the other platforms, we've got content there too, YouTube, whatever, but it's mostly Facebook, it's mostly Instagram. To say that it's one thing over the other is hard, but I'll tell you kind of my process, our SOP, if you will, is I like doing Facebook Lives. And then we have a team that will take those Facebook Lives and repurpose a lot of the content, especially when it's a really good live video. And you ever do a video and you're like, man, I crushed that. Like when you're done, you're like I killed that. And there's other times when you're done, you're like, I don't feel like that was my best video. Crazy. Yeah. So we'll take the content and turn it into a podcast. We'll chop it up with our video team. They do that. And they'll turn it into reels. So a lot of if people were to go onto my Instagram, Real John Melton Instagram, or they go on my Facebook, they see reels, whatever. A lot of that is repurposed content from my Facebook Lives. And then sometimes it's just me recording a video, 90 seconds, 30 seconds, and then I send it to my video team and they edit it. But with that being said, stories, reels, Facebook Live, I feel like you have to do all of those things, but I still think Facebook Live is the best way to nurture relationships. Stories, nurturing relationships, right? Because those are the people that are going to see your stories and see your live videos are mostly people already following. If you want to build a new following, you could do that through Reels, but also Facebook groups. And actually, I interviewed Coach Fryer yesterday. He's a good buddy of mine. And him and I are very much aligned on these philosophies. Two of the best ways to meet new people would obviously be Reels, because if you have something go viral or something really strikes a chord, like you could have just, a viral video that gives you limitless new followers, like forever. That could happen. But because you can't bank on that, it's really good to get inside Facebook groups. And don't just how many of us are just in like 50 Facebook groups and we don't even pay attention to them? That's the problem. There's no point in being in a group if you're not going to engage in the group. It's better just to drop out of all those groups and find like 2, 3, 4, 5 groups where you're going to consistently engage, connect, create content. You're not going in those groups to sell and pitch. You're going in there to provide value and make new friends. The easiest people for you to sign up are people just like you. They have the same problems you have. They have the same interests that you have. The things you love, they love. The things you dislike, they dislike, right? You could get into certain political groups. You could get into certain, maybe you have like a sports team that you love. Maybe you're really into hiking, right? If you're like passionate about hiking, right? Or you're passionate about, you love your Peloton, get into some groups with people that love those things also. And don't go in there to pitch and sell. Go in there and make friends, make connections, and provide value, right? I told this story yesterday of this woman this was from years ago, but it was one of my favorite stories because it's a funny thing that I didn't realize people were actually into, and it's scrapbooking. Like, I'll never forget the first time she told me, I'm like, wait, you joined Facebook groups that are all about scrapbooking? Like, to me, that's not really a thing, but apparently it is. And it was. And she joined like maybe 5 scrapbooking groups because she heard us talk about this on a training. So she joined these 5 groups. Her warm market wasn't biting, wasn't interested in any of the products she was selling. She was struggling. She joins these groups. I think it was like 4 or 5 different groups. She just starts sharing tips and responding to comments and posts and just making friends, right? This is before Reels, before Story, before any of that. She just went into Facebook groups, which are still one of the most overlooked, underutilized ways to meet new people. And she ended up doing 3,000 in sales that very next month, 30 new customers, because these people started following her. They liked her. And then they saw her before and after posts or some of her posts about her products. And they're like, what's that, Barbara? Like, I'm interested in that. And it was just like one thing led to another. And all of a sudden she's rank advancing and making money. But the point is, it had nothing to do with her products, nothing to do with her opportunity. It just had to do with that's something she's into. So it was very easy for her to talk to people because they related to her, right? If you're into real estate, join some real estate groups, but don't just join the freaking group. Nobody's going to see anything if you never contribute, you never comment, you never post. You have to be an active participant in those groups and really try to connect with people, make some friends. And if you're doing that, if you're adding new friends while simultaneously creating content and stories and all the things, like you're doing both, you're planting seeds and then your content is watering those seeds, you will absolutely start to generate leads and even make money, make sales from those new connections.
I agree with that 100%. We moved to a lake community. Well, we didn't move. We still have our traditional business back in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, but we come to the lake 7-hour drive almost every week because we love it here. The energy is just amazing. But then I was at a 10X event and I started getting all these Airbnbs and we bought 4 or 5 houses. And so I got in the local Grove community, Grand Lake boaters community, and almost everyone here is retired. Like we're just in a community with a whole bunch of older people. They could all be like our parents, you know?
Yeah.
But I had these baby foxes out the front window, go under our driveway, the mom and dad, and then next thing I knew, these baby foxes were coming out. So one day I made a reel and I put it on my Facebook page and I got like 1,000 views. But John, I shared it in the boaters group and it went to 25,000 views in like an hour because all the people on the boat are like, where are the foxes? They're in Fox Run. She lives in Fox Run, you know? And because of that, then I had people asking me about, you know, they saw my product with me in a picture on the boat. But here's the thing that people can't understand. When I posted in my group last week, tip number 1, quit putting your name and your link on your Facebook page. People are like afraid. What if I don't get any customers because they don't have my link now? Like it's not just in their
that
link.
Link is sacred. Yeah, you got to hold on to that link. It's sacred. Like I want people begging me for my link. I want people requesting, hey, I need your link to enroll. I need your link to buy. If you just put it out there, that's basically like, first of all, you look like an infomercial, right? And people go, oh, I see why you're so friendly. You're trying to sell me something, right? People are not dumb. And then on top of that, you're basically saying, hey, I'll take anybody. I'll just take anybody. Like anybody wants to buy or join, like I'll just, please. It comes across as like more needy versus leading with value, right? Leading with relationships. So I love that you pointed that out.
Well, and people are constantly every day. Like I see people like posting their own recognition pic and their own flyer that they got their picture on. And sometimes they even created it. And like, as a company owner, my philosophy was we, the company, shout them out on their page. So all of their friends feel like they're missing out, but not them. You know, like I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like if someone goes to my news feed, it shouldn't be a whole news feed about my company and someone tagged me in this and that. It should be like my kids, my grandkids, my dog, my lake, my boat, and the struggle I'm going through, maybe, you know, like
and if you are going to share that, if you are going to share that stuff, those victories, those success stories, those big promotions, you got to share where you came from. You got to share like how you struggled, you know, tell the backstory, because people won't care about your winning season if they don't hear about your losing season. They won't care about your successes and, you know, your, you know, all your money and all your titles and all the things if they don't know the backstory and they don't know like that you had a lot of adversity, that you had to overcome some things. And that's where that relatability is such a big deal. So yeah, I mean, I don't see how anyone wouldn't just, that wouldn't be common sense. But I think also we get really excited, right? We get so excited that we forget that like what it's like to be new and what it's like to be skeptical and an outsider looking in like, oh gosh, like, you know, this person is an infomercial, right? They're literally an infomercial. They have commission breath and it stinks.
Commission breath. And some people love to talk about how much success they've had and how much money they've made. And, you know, that is our story, John. But one of my favorite lives you ever did, Dave and I were in the middle of an ugly lawsuit, which I have a complete gag order and I'm not ever going to talk about it. But there's a lot of people out there. No, that's all in the past now. But there's a lot of people out there that we don't know what they're going through. and they're
Right.
struggling and they have fear and they would love anything they could do to make an extra $100 even this week. And them seeing us just so full of ourselves and this ego makes them not want to join us. Where when you
Yeah.
post a picture of you, an alcoholic with a cigarette in your mouth and your mullet and you got arrested or whatever, I'm over here like, somebody please stand up and help me like with this. Because, you know,
Yeah.
Dave and I, we come from nothing. We were bankrupt. He was a busted up bull rider. Our company went out of business and we were in our 20s, 50,000 a month, and it was just poof, gone. Like that story people can relate to. And I think a lot of people have this fear mentality that I can't share any of that. When I recently, John, shared a personal struggle that our entire family has been going through with a loved one, I have thousands of new friends, thousands. I can't even respond to all my messages. And I know that if I said, let's link arms and start a group, support for praying moms or support for the addict that's struggling or whatever, it's a brand new friend group because they can relate to me. And it's not like my life is perfect and I'm a multi-million dollar 7-figure earner building a mansion here on the lake. That's not it. It's relatability. And the same way you and Nadia have, Airbnbs. Dave and I have Airbnbs. And one of the things that I learned from you is that if I really wanted to be able to find you and you were going to say something, it would be like link in bio. And then I could go see, oh, we should go stay in Florida, Dave. We could have a retreat at their house if we get tired of the lake. Like, I think when people know you, they like you, they trust you face to face, they're just like, sign me up. I want to do whatever you're doing. And that's what I'm trying to teach my team. Like, get people to know you and like you and trust you without having to do a 6 o'clock and an 8 o'clock. How do they do that, John, if they don't have a following? They don't have they're afraid. Like, what's my first step if I sign up in a new company or I'm going to relaunch this company that I'm in? What is my first step? Like, you sign me up, we're in together. What's my first step? Or someone that's been in a long time and they're like, okay, how do I start this now? Because first of all, they got to go clean up their whole news feed and like start doing the things.
Yeah. Well, I try to keep it very simple because, in the beginning, people are not going to do things they're uncomfortable doing. So I try to find out, like, what are they trying to accomplish? What are they excited about? Which steps in the process, like they're wanting to take action on, because we have like we're very systematic with our training. So in Guide 1, we have like 24-hour game plan. It's some training videos, some scripts, some different examples of what they can post to start generating some curiosity. But the biggest thing is I try to get them to do the simple steps that they're comfortable with. Like, if I tell someone, hey, you should do a Facebook Live launch video, launching your business, and they're like terrified, I'm just not going to worry about that, because I already know that if I try to push them to do something they're uncomfortable with out of the gate, they're probably going to quit. Now, a month later, maybe they feel more comfortable. Maybe now they're willing to do some of that stuff. But I try to get them to do just some of the easy stuff in the beginning, like maybe reaching out to some of their key people, getting those first 2, 3, 4, 5 customers, helping them make some money and build up their belief. Like, those little things, taking those steps, that's what's most important when it comes to launching their business or relaunching, right? I think it's so important for them to start posting, start prospecting, and then really putting me in group chats. The sooner they introduce me to people, the sooner I can help them make money. If they don't introduce me to people, I can't help them. I really can't. Like, I could probably help them with like getting some customers, but if they're like serious and they're wanting to build a team and build an empire and create significance, I'm like, you have to introduce me to people because you're brand new, right? You're going to earn while you learn. It's hard for me to teach you things in theory, but I can teach you how to talk to a potential prospect, how to overcome objections or answer questions, or what to do with them if you introduce me to people. So I get them to start posting if they're ready. We have a whole like system in place for teaching them how to start posting and what to post and some of the things that are most effective. But then on top of that, they got to reach out to people. Like I mentioned before, they got to start reaching out to people to get them into the groups, to get them to take a look at the information. And we're not trying to convince people to buy or join. We're just asking them if they're open to taking a look at what we're doing. And again, some people are not going to have any influence. They're not going to have any influence. They're not going to have any credibility. So it doesn't matter how great the system is. You're still going to have people that simply can't get results because and Eric Worre says this, right? You are punished or rewarded based on the life you led prior to getting involved. So if someone has made all the wrong decisions with their life and they have really burned a lot of bridges and people don't really trust them or respect them, it's going to be a really tough go in the beginning, but who cares? The time's going to pass anyway. So if someone goes, oh, I don't have a lot of influence. Listen, the first year in your network marketing business, if you're profitable, that's rare. My first 2 years in network marketing, maybe even 3, I spent more money than I made. So you got to have long-term vision and treat it like a real business, like those investment properties. We didn't start really making money right out of the gate, even though there was money coming in, but it was like we invested so much up front that it took a while to actually get a return on the investment because there was a big upfront investment, right? A down payment to buy those homes. So same thing in your business. Now here, it doesn't take $1 million. It doesn't take $800,000. It takes a handful, a small, like $100 or $500, right? It takes a little bit of money to get started. So you could technically make the money back right away, but your mentality should not be like, I want a full-time income my first month, my first year, if you don't have any influence or credibility. Now, if someone does have those things, it's a totally different conversation. Like I had someone join my team recently. She was a 6-figure earner from another company. And, she's enrolled a bunch of people already. She's rank advanced like 4 or 5 times. And she's only been with us for a couple of weeks, but she has that influence. So everybody's different. And I try to really, and I tell leaders this all the time, you have to customize your conversation to cater to the person that's going through the training. And, like some people, they want to go promote the products. Some people want to build a team. Some people are really good at marketing and they already have a following. Some people, they've never posted anything. They've never been in business for themselves. And I have to be honest, I don't really pursue people like that. Like I don't get excited to enroll someone that's never used social media. They've never sold anything. They've never done anything like this. I'm not saying I won't enroll them, but I'll probably place them with someone on my team that has more time for them because I know that person is going to need a lot more hand holding. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. But at the end of the day, as a leader, as the enroller, as the mentor, you have to take them through the system. Now I'll have them watch the videos, download the tools and the apps and all the things, but the system's really for me. I'm the one that is going to coach them through it. And the one thing that I see in this day and age, there's a lot of people out there trying to automate that stuff. And you can't automate mentorship. You can't automate relationship building. There are aspects of the business that you can automate. Like if someone's like, hey, what's the comp plan? I'm gonna tag them in the comp plan video and give them a homework. Once you watch the video, let me know if you have questions. But if I'm trying to explain it, here's the problem. People can't do what I'm doing. So even if I could explain it, even if I could, break it all down for them, if I don't point them towards a tool, they're going to go, oh my gosh, I can't memorize all that stuff. But anybody can tag someone in a video. Anyone can tag someone in the launch process and guide one and learn how to go through the training. And then I can answer questions. Then I can say, hey, are you ready to start posting? Are you ready to start talking to people? Do you have some key people we can talk to? What are your goals? What are you wanting to accomplish? What's got you most excited? So all of these things are important. But in the beginning, it's basics. It's like so important. Like I just want them to make a little bit of money, build up a little bit of confidence, and even if it's just getting that first customer, even if it's just ATMing that first person, right? Doing their first post and they get a response. Like that's those baby steps, like getting people, you can't feed a steak to a baby. How many's ever heard that before, right? If we can just get them to see some small wins, they're on the right path and that'll start building up their confidence to take more action.
I love it. I am like trying to watch you and thinking I wish I had a notebook. I'm gonna have to go through and watch this a million times. But if you guys are getting great tips here, please share this with your team. Smash the heart button, comment. Like I just cannot believe we're getting this for free, John, because I know that you charge very good price for the value that you bring, and I'm just very thankful for our friendship. And if I can ever do anything for you, I would love to. But we've just got so many good nuggets here. Lately, I see so many people social selling. And I recently saw it, in the company that we owned with a combination of, this team of girls that were party planned coming on board compared to our team that traditionally, we grew up in network marketing, not social selling. And so, there was literally people at the table when we were trying to blend a family saying, I'm not doing network marketing and I'm not about to sell your vitamin. They were like confused that we had a supplement and they had always been like personal care. But these were girls with 400,000 in volume and a team, John. They didn't even know they were in network marketing. They're like, we don't do that. We just have a VIP group where we sell. And, I think there's different personalities. No company is perfect for everyone. All these girls are still my good friends, but a lot of them didn't survive because there was too many rules. Yeah. And they were so used to being able to go create all their own posts, take care of their teams, nurture their teams, their VIP groups, whatever. And, we just had a different culture, and culture is everything. I think, people have to feel like they can. I have so many leaders and leaders that have, well over 100,000 in volume. I don't even know what they're doing. I don't want to know what they're doing. They don't have to ask me for permission. I don't talk to their people because they're the leader. I feel like when you have a strong team, it's so strong that nobody really even knows who the leader is because everybody's trying to win. But I let my people do whatever they want to do. If they want to go do party plan, they want to do trade shows, they want to go do social media, TikToks, whatever. But then when you don't have a focused system and there's absolute confusion, people join. And in my experience, they don't know what to do, and so a confused mind always says no, and there's too much noise. And then you even have these people, and I'm not going to argue with any of them, but I've never seen anybody do it. Well, I'm going to be in 2 or 3 or 4 companies because I'm a social seller. And, if you have a boutique or something, you want to sell several products in your store, that's great. But as a 7-figure earner, I've never seen anybody do it. And it's confusing to me. And I love all of my friends that want to try to do it, but I don't have enough of me for one, because I want to do other things like my grandkids, my Airbnb business, whatever. Like I cannot imagine if I was trying to be a social seller for 10 different brands. And I do think you can have multiple streams of income. We have traditional businesses, 5 retail stores, but I built them at a time where I wasn't trying to get a network marketing or a party plan off the ground. I think it, just my opinion, I don't know. Tell me your thoughts on that, John, because you've seen a lot of this and you guys are strictly social selling.
Yeah. It's always a little tricky because I don't want to tell someone what to do, right? Same as you. I'm not your manager. I'm not your boss. I don't own you any more than you own your social media, right? But at the end of the day, if you are trying to build a team and you want to be a leader, then trying to do multiple MLMs is just a recipe for disaster, for failure. Because here's the thing. Look, I always use this example. Let's say I went out and started selling makeup, which is funny, right? But I said, hey, I'm going to be in this makeup MLM because my company doesn't have makeup. So I'm going to start selling makeup. And then I start recruiting people from my network. And some of those people are probably going to be people from your team. So now you're like, wait a second. So I'm on John's team in this company and I'm introducing people to him and I'm edifying him. And now he's recruiting those people to this other thing. And now the people that I introduced that he only knows because of me are now in some other thing. And now they're not even focused on company A. Now they're building company B under, like, I'm just not going to introduce him anymore. Like he's not, like, he doesn't have integrity. Like he doesn't have like the right intentions here. Like so for me, it's like, I would never want to violate the trust and the relationship of my team, of my leaders. Not to mention, most companies, if you start cross-recruiting people from one company to the other, there's going to be a bunch of people complaining. They're going to go to corporate and say, hey, this person is stealing people. They're using the platform that we gave them. They're using the edification. They're using the exposure they're getting to get people into this other thing. They can't be trusted. Most companies are going to suspend you. Most companies are going to have a problem with that. Some companies will even terminate you just for joining something else. So you got to look at your company's policies and procedures. But at the end of the day, if you just want to sell a bunch of products, be my guest. But most of you don't have enough influence to sell the products in one company. And if you're like the trench coat MLM person, like, hey, I got water filters, I got makeup, I got CBD oil, I got travel, I got nutrition, I got collagen. Like, you're just going to end up being more of a consumer. You're buying all these products, companies, and paying for the kits. And it's hard enough to build one, let alone multiple. But all that's doing is telling your audience that, you're not really committed to one thing. Now, I know there's some arguments and there's some, you could make the argument that, hey, yeah, but this company I'm just selling the product, or this company, isn't even an MLM, it's affiliate. No, that's fine. That's a little different. But again, if you're trying to build teams in multiple companies and be a leader in multiple companies, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't trust. If my upline started selling, promoting something else, I'd be like, dude, I'm done with that person. I'm not edifying that person. I can't trust them. If they start making more money with this other thing, they're going to try to pull people into something else. And it causes a lot of drama and negativity. Again, I don't tell people what to do. I just let them know, like, listen, it's a very slippery slope if you're going to promote another opportunity, because somebody's going to complain. And if somebody starts complaining, especially if you're using the same social media account, right, that you're promoting the other thing on, what is the company supposed to do? They have to protect the people, because if they don't protect the people that are in the company that are wanting to build that company, then the people that are losing people to this other leader that can't be trusted, then those people are probably going to leave also, because they're upset that, like, hey, I brought my network in. I'm working so hard to build my business, and this person is wrecking it because they've got influence over my team. Like if I did that to Barb, she was on my team, she's like, I don't trust John anymore. I'm done with him. Like, I'm just not going to edify him. I don't want to work with him because I can't trust that he won't talk to those people and get them into some other program. And again, it's hard enough to build one, let alone multiple. So you really have to think through, if you're going to do something else. I mean, look, I always say the same thing. If you really want to sell something that your current company does not offer, just be an affiliate, or like find a company where you can be an affiliate that doesn't have an MLM attached to it. They don't have an opportunity, attached to it. Number one. Number two, another option is start a totally different social media, because as soon as you start promoting something, there's going to be people that are in company A that are going to ask about company B. And here's the biggest issue is now you're telling people in company A that they can start multiple things, that they could go out and do this. And most people, again, can't build one, let alone two. So now they're joining all these different things because they see you doing it. So they're just like, I guess that's just like what we should do, because the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. Yeah, but the average millionaire became a millionaire with 1 stream of income. Then they started other things. They started things that didn't compete with their primary source of income. Like if I have, 6 rental properties and I have my MLM business, that's 7 streams of income. Does that make sense? Like this is, or someone has a job and they're building their direct sales, social selling business, whatever you want to call it, on the side. That's 2 streams of income. I never encourage anyone to have 1 stream of income, whether your 1 stream of income is network marketing, or it's a job, or it's, whatever it is. You should have multiple streams of income, but you need to focus on one thing. Focus on one thing, build that thing up. And guess what? When you build up so much success, momentum, the other income streams will happen naturally. People will say, hey, I'll buy a course from you. Hey, I'll pay you to consult or coach my team, or I'll pay you to speak at this event. Like the speaking opportunities and the monetization opportunities and all these things, those will follow suit if you create success in one thing. But again, you got to focus on that one thing. And don't just, like, what people do is they cop out. They're like, oh, this thing is slowing down a little bit, or the down economy. Let me go join something else. And then what happens is you confuse your audience. You don't get results in that other thing. And now you're starting to also lose traction in the first thing that you were building, you put so much time into. So that's how I try to explain it to people. But again, some people have to learn the hard way, right? It's like our kids sometimes, like we gotta let them go. We share our advice. I always say to my daughter, I'm like, Christina, do you think you'll be a lot smarter 28 years from now? She's like, yeah, Dad. Now she doesn't fall for it now because now she knows. But I'll be like, 28 years from now, can you imagine how much smarter you're going to be? Can you imagine how? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, that's me. I'm like, that's me. So when you're arguing with me, just know, like 28 years from now, how much smarter you're going to be, how much more wisdom you'll have, lessons that you'll have learned. Like, that's me. I'm trying to help you here, but some people have to learn the hard way. So,
well, and that experience is what makes you so strong, and your mentality, John. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm just at a point, it's like you. I mean, you've been through the lawsuit, you've been through the company going away, you've been through people rating your downline, you've been through the negative Nellies on all the haters. Like you just get to a point, your skin is so thick. You're like, if y'all all left me, I'd take my experience, my knowledge, you know, the things that I have in my arsenal. Like our network is literally our net worth. And,
Yes.
you know, that's why you just keep winning. And I mean, I thank you so much for this. My gosh, we could do a full day summit. Like,
yeah.
Can you
just
even
go back
imagine?
and forth for hours? Yeah.
Oh
you know,
gosh,
it's such a good point though, because I had someone yesterday say like, "Oh, I'm so shocked that like this thing happened," and I'm like, "I'm not shocked by anything anymore." Like something happens, I'm like, "Yeah, that makes sense." Or something happens, you're like, "Damn, that sucks." Oh well, you know, like it is what it is, right? You just roll with the punches, and you can't just expect. It's kind of like this down economy. Like people are complaining, and it's just like you're so selfish, right? Someone's like, "Oh, my business is down." It's like, so is Amazon's. Like, do you think like if Amazon or Facebook or Apple are laying people off, do you think like somehow you're immune to that? Like it's amazing how sometimes we can be like so in our own bubble, right? Like, oh, it's a little harder to sell product right now. And I'm like, yeah, but it's harder for the competition to sell product also.
Yep.
So
Well,
it's a
and
great
people
time to
jump
recruit.
competition, then they get over to the competition. Anyone can rank up 5 times in the first month, especially if they have influence and leave a company and go somewhere else. So then everybody might be looking, but 90 days down the road, John, you got the same problems, or it's still 40, 60.
Well,
You know,
and
you love
also,
60,
Barb, you've seen this too with
40,
these.
40.
You've seen this too with the MLM hoppers, right? Where it's like, you know, every three months, 6 months, 9 months, they're in something new, right? They're constantly. And look, sometimes you got to make a move. Sometimes you have to make a move. But if you see someone over the course of 3 years, 5 years, and they're in something new every year, sometimes 2 or 3 things in the same year, and every time God told them to do it, every time it's like, you know,
I love it when they do it in the name of Jesus. I mean,
it drives me crazy.
One thing to not have integrity, but to post your Bible verse right before it.
Yeah. Or they're so shocked. Or they're so shocked. They're like, I just can't believe this. This happened, that happened. It's like, that's 5 companies in a row. It's like you keep joining these shiny balls or these ground floor things that are a little shady, and then you're so shocked when the owner's a scumbag, or you're so shocked when like, you know, the thing goes belly up, or, you know, you don't have any duplication. Like, how are you shocked at this point? Like, you've done it 5 times in a row. Like, and everybody tries to warn these people. But, you know, the problem is, again, some of these people have like an addiction. They have an addiction to like the fast growth. And if it doesn't happen quick and fast, if it's like a little slower, they're like, I've been in this 30 days. It's not growing fast enough. And there must be something wrong with this. It's not easy enough. So I got to go to the next thing. And then eventually they actually do find something halfway decent, right? But here's the problem. All the people on their team are now doing what they've been doing. So now they got a whole team of MLM hoppers. So yeah, they got a good spot. They got in on the top of a power line. They got all this good stuff but then their team is like, yo, we didn't get that stuff. Yo, we don't have that same experience. So now their whole thing falls apart. And then God told them that they need to go somewhere else because everybody's not having success. And it's just, it's almost predictable. You're like, you know, you see someone go somewhere, you're like, oh, it's like the 6th company in 2 years. And you're just thinking like, I wonder how long they'll last in this time.
And you love them, but you love them and you're like, man, you're my friend, but like, it's exhausting, you know? And I think that's why some people just forget it. Like, I'm not even gonna do the industry. And you know, there are times, like you said, when you know you got to make a move. I listen to Margie Albright. I love her. And I think about the power of being with one company for 2 decades, like for life. You know, if Brian McMullen and I were still in the same company from 1996, we would probably be billionaires because like we were lit before being lit was even a thing, and we didn't even know it. We were just so uncomfortable. But the company, you know, like we don't all have that story, and there's some people that are like, I'm never doing it again. Like it's just too much. I hate the industry. But then MLM, one day, and I'm telling you, I had it, and sometimes I still do. And that's why I think it's so important to be authentic and honest with people and never let a price tag be on your integrity, and just be like, I felt the last like month and a half, 2 months, maybe even a year, like I need to bring generic training to my team, because you know, when I need prayer, I go to my pastor or someone that has more strength than I do. When I need mentoring, I don't have fear. Like I don't have one bit of fear, John, that you would go steal anybody in my downline or try to recruit them, you would call me and be like, hey, Barb, have a conversation. Like, I'm not stupid. But here's the other thing. If people want to leave me, they're going to leave anyway. And I can't take that personally. I want to be better so that I have the system, the training, the coaching, the product, the pages, everything they need to be like hook, line, and sinker. Like, let's go do this and crush it. And, that's why I reached out to you and Nadia. I mean, you guys were in beautiful Bora Bora. Before that, we were in Germany. How was Bora Bora before we end? Like, what is that
Epic.
like?
It was epic. Totally epic. The only caveat to it is it's really hard to get to from the East Coast. We had to take 3 flights, so, flight from Baltimore to LA. Then we had, the layover, and then LA to, not Fiji, Tahiti. And then you had to take a 45-minute plane from Tahiti to Bora Bora. And then you got to take a boat. So that's, it was a little tough too, because we got there like 10 a.m. to the resort, 11 a.m., 10 a.m. And then it's like, oh, you can't check into your room until like 3, so it is what it is. But, I mean, it was breathtaking, right? I mean, it's like some of the pictures and the videos, like with the backdrop, it's like, it doesn't even look real. The water is just, crazy, crazy clear blue. But then also we were laughing because we were like, we haven't even been to Hawaii. And this is like, 2,500 miles south of Hawaii. So we're like, we should probably go to Hawaii next. But we always end up just going south. I mean, there's still a bunch of Caribbean islands we haven't even been to, and we've been to a lot of them. And then we also like going to Europe. I mean, our favorite place, I think, of all time, out of all the places we've been to, is probably Dubai. Dubai was just insanely nice. And, I do like the island vibe and the beach vibe and the, all that. But I like all the like luxury hotels and the, there's like, I mean, Dubai has it all. It's got the beaches, it's got the skyline, it's got, all the things. You have to go there at a certain time of year, though, because it does get apparently wicked hot in the summer. But
Right.
those have been 2 of like the most amazing places for sure. Dubai, Bora Bora, totally different, locations, right? Totally different places, but definitely worth going there. You got to experience Bora Bora at least once in your life for sure.
You had me dreaming, but I'll tell you, we went to Hawaii to do a meeting in 1998. And we went 5 times in the next year. Every time we could get a 4 or 5 day thing, we were like, let's take the kids to Hawaii. We built a massive team there because we just wanted to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
But
just an excuse to go, right? Like,
yes. And the other thing I will say, John, is I love following your love for your kids and just the time freedom. My son was a D1 football player, has a boyfriend that's a pro player over in Germany. And I think, it's not about the money and the mansion. It's that we can be wherever we want with our kids, whether it's someone that's struggling or someone that's winning. Like, I loved watching Dylan when you got the batting cage, because I was like, Dave, remember when we got Chance the batting cage? Because he wanted to do baseball, in college, and then ended up K-State football. But I love that through all the struggle, the most important accomplishment is that you're just raising champions. Like, it has to start in your home before you can do it for everyone else. So kudos to him and all of his success. It's so fun watching the ride.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. He just had his first game of his senior year yesterday, so that was fun. Spring baseball, baseball season's officially back. So yeah, we're excited about. Although I'm ready for the spring weather to heat up a little bit. It was a little chilly once the sun went down. We were like, all right, we're good. We think our blood got a little thinned out in Bora Bora. We're like, oh my gosh, this is brutal. Anyway, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so fun. It's crazy the conversations you have when it's someone that's made millions of dollars compared to the conversations that you have when it's someone with broke mentality. And I mean, it's like you said, it's either scarcity mentality or abundance. Yep. And I just thank you for bringing such a frequency and a vibe and just vision to everyone on my team. So I'm sure they're all dying for more. We'll have to schedule something where we can really do like an all-day seminar, because there's so much to learn. But you gave them some tips. They know what to do. You got anything you want to tell them as we close out?
Well, I just appreciate you having me. I love our dialogue. Anytime we get to connect and have conversations, and I know you're dealing with some stuff that's really challenging. And I just send lots of prayers and blessings in your direction. And anything I can do, we can definitely do something else again in the future for sure. I could talk about this stuff all day long. So
I know. You're amazing at it. You're the best. Well, thank you so much, John. You guys have an amazing trip to Europe and an awesome event this weekend. And I'm sure we'll be connecting again soon. Tell Nadia I said hello.
I will. Sayonara.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.